and welcome to Week 8 Boom Bust Fantasy Football Show, brought to you by Fantasy Football Advice Network and Sellout Crowd. I'm Corey, and I'm joined by my brother, Kyle. We're going to break down some booms and busts at each position for your Week 8 fantasy football matchups. Let's break it down for him, Kyle. What do you got for us this week?
We're going to jump right in here with our boom QB of the week, Jared Goff. And honestly, what comes down to two things, right? The matchup against Las Vegas is fantastic. And I think they come out on a Monday night in prime time pissed off with something to prove after the beatdown that they took against Baltimore last week. I really think they're going to come in with a big chip on their shoulder and put up a lot of points. So I'm loving me some Jared Goff this week.
Yeah, they got embarrassed last week. And like I said, I think they're going to come out and try to put up as many points as possible after laying a dud last week. Jared Goff sitting at the number 8 quarterback on the year, even after that big dud. So he's been playing really well. He's got a lot of weapons there. And coming out against Las Vegas, I think that's the team he can bounce back from. That's a good get-right game sort of situation there. So, yeah, I agree. Jared Goff, good pick.
It is for sure. Also, Jared Goff has a really significant, more than a lot of QBs, home-away split, and they're at home. They're at home Monday night. I'm all about some Jared Goff, man.
It is odd how much better he does at home.
Yeah.
It's a little odd. Yeah. So, all righty. Who's your bust QB?
Bust QB of the week, and it hurts my heart to say it, but it's Mr. Dak Prescott.
Ouch.
Yeah, the Los Angeles Rams have been pretty tough against QBs and receivers this year, and so I think he's going to struggle a little bit. Plus, I think Dallas is really going to want to run the ball as much as possible to keep Stafford, Kupp, Puka Nacua, keep those guys off of the field. So I think we see a little bit of a down game from Dak this week.
I agree. I know you and I have talked many a time, as much as we love Dak Prescott, he's not a fantasy football type of quarterback. And a lot of the reason is because of game plan. The Cowboys like to run the ball a lot. They always have. And with Kellen Moore and now with Mike McCarthy, same thing. They want to run the ball first. Yep. And so it does not play well to Dak Prescott scoring fantasy points. And like you said, I think they're going to want to run the ball more this game, establish that run game, keep it going. And I think it's going to hurt Dak Prescott in a fantasy football sense, which is what we all care about here, right? So agree. As much as it hurts to say, Dak Prescott not looking good in fantasy football this week.
Yep.
Perfect. All righty. Let's move on to running backs really quick. Who's your boom running back of the week?
Yeah, the boom running back this week is Damen Pierce. He's had a little bit of a disappointing season going into the bye. Devin Singletary got a pretty good workload that week. I think coming back off the bye now, they've had a week to get some people healthy, especially again across that offensive line where they've been struggling to stay healthy. And also against one of, if not the worst rushing defense in the league, Carolina. I really think it's a really good bounce back spot for him. And I think they will try to really get him going in this game.
We can hope so. Pierce has been a big letdown this year. Last year, nice flashes of talent with a horrible offensive line. So everyone coming into this season, big high hopes for him and been a letdown. But I do agree that Carolina's run defense is so horrible that their pass defense on, I don't know, any sort of matchups for wide receivers in fantasy football looks like a tough matchups for wide receivers, right? It's not because their secondary is so incredible. It's just that people are able to run on them so much that those wide receivers aren't getting stats against them. Their run defense is horrible. It's
bad.
So it makes their pass defense rank well. That's how bad it is. So I think you're right. If there's any opportunity for Damen Pierce to get on track, this is one that it could be, and the coaches should take advantage of it.
Yeah.
All righty. Who's your bust running back?
The bust running back this week, Brian Robinson for the Commanders. We're starting to see a little bit more of a committee forming here. After, he started the season out as a workhorse, and everybody's like, why aren't we using Gibson? Well, now not only are they using Gibson, but they're using Chris Rodriguez too, who's a rookie, is getting a handful of carries. And in fact, he got some goal line carries last week. So got you. And then also they're playing against Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia is going to put up a lot of points. They're going to have to throw to keep up with that. But even if they want to run the ball, Philly's one of the best defenses in the league against the run. So you're not going to be able to. So there's a lot of things going on here that just scream you have to bench Brian Robinson this week.
Yeah, Brian Robinson, like you said, kind of an early season, like wowing everyone, like, ooh, didn't see that coming. But slow but sure. He only had 49% of snaps last week, 8 carries. Eek.
Yeah.
That's
Rodriguez had 7.
Yeah, 8 carries for 23 yards against the Giants. So not loving that.
The touchdown saved his day.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, 8.3 points with a touchdown. So if it wasn't for that, that is the one upside, though, is he does get those goal line carries. But playing against Philly, don't know how many of those you're going to get. So,
probably not many, if any at all.
Yeah. So recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Or busting, you might say.
Yeah, exactly.
All righty, guys. Like take a second real quick to let you know to go to fantasyfootballadvice.com and join the only social media network 100% dedicated to fantasy football. You can ask questions, get advice, give advice, read articles, watch videos, listen to podcasts. There's all kinds of other tools on there. It is 100% dedicated to fantasy football, which is what we all actually care about. So head on over there. It's free to sign up and have a good time and build a community. All right, Kyle, let's go on to wide receivers really quick.
Yeah, my bust wide receiver. Sorry, my boom wide receiver this week. I know I got ahead of myself there. I'm so excited. No, so my boom receiver of the week, Drake London, playing against Tennessee. You gotta love that matchup. It's his easiest matchup to date. One of the easiest matchups for wide receivers in the league. But this guy is literally just waiting to go off. He's already been scoring pretty decent points. Targets are there. The volume is there. He's only had 2 touchdowns on the season, though, and he's 4th in the league in red zone targets. So that's fluky, right? Like he's this close to elite numbers and elite fantasy points, and this is the week, man. If you can buy him going into this week, I would certainly try to. I think he's going to explode. I love him this week.
There's been high hopes for Drake London ever since he's come into the league, right? But some unfortunate quarterback situation, disappointing year last year. This year started off not so great. All of a sudden hitting his stride here, scoring double-digit scoring in his last 4 games. That's pretty good. That seems to kind of be coming along there. And then, like you said, rolling into Tennessee here. Yeah, give me that matchup.
When you're getting volume like that, especially in the red zone, touchdowns are always a fickle, inconsistent beast anyways. But when you're getting those kind of targets in the red, like the touchdowns will come.
Yep.
I think they come this week.
Yeah, he's probably averaging about 8 targets a game. And as high as 12, but probably around an average of 8. And that's pretty decent, especially if some of them are coming in the red zone.
Like say 4th in the league in red zone targets, like that's really, really good.
I didn't even know the Falcons made it to the red zone that often.
They don't, but when they do, they're throwing to London.
Apparently so. All righty, let's move on to your bust.
Yeah, the bust receiver this week is Brandon Aiyuk. Probably going to be a little controversial. People love Aiyuk. He's been playing really well. And Debo is banged up. But they're playing against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's top 5 in the league against wide receivers and against perimeter receivers. In fact, they have allowed 0 touchdowns all year so far. So I don't see Aiyuk being the one to break that mold. He's a really good receiver. I don't think he's elite enough with Purdy throwing the ball to break that mold. So I really think he's going to struggle this week.
So 2 things you mentioned there that I want to touch on. One is touchdowns that Cincinnati's allowing to these wideouts. Brandon Aiyuk's only had 2 touchdowns on the season, and it came in week 1. Hasn't scored a touchdown since. So he hasn't been scoring touchdowns already. So I don't know that I'm expecting one against Cincinnati all of a sudden.
No.
On top of that, you mentioned Brock Purdy throwing him the ball. Brock Purdy might not be throwing him the ball this week. So that's
true too.
That doesn't seem good. Brock Purdy might be out. It might be Sam Darnold in there at quarterback. Not sure what that looks like. I've seen
Which I like even less.
As I say, I've seen Sam Darnold play, and that doesn't excite me at all. So, I would say temper those expectations for Brandon Aiyuk, no matter how good he is, because he is a great wide receiver, but it's not looking good this week.
Yeah.
Yep. All righty. Let's move on to your tight ends.
All right. The boom tight end, Mr. Darren Waller. He's back, and it's for 2 reasons. Tyrod Taylor. As long as Tyrod's been playing, Waller's been fantastic, and they have the best matchup for tight ends in the league this week. Piece of cake.
I don't know what else you say to that. I mean, I know it's intimidating hearing Jets defense, right? Mm-hmm. But if there's one spot, it's tight end. And if there's one quarterback on that team, it's Tyrod Taylor. So finally adding some value in there. Waller's kind of coming along. He's healthy, which is kind of rare. So
for real,
take advantage of that. He's kind of hitting his stride. I think you got to plug him in there.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Who's your bust?
The bust, Mr. Evan Ingram. Has no touchdowns on the year. And now he is going against the worst tight end matchup in the league in Pittsburgh this week. This is not the week he breaks that streak. I love the other pass catchers for Jacksonville this week, but I'm not starting Evan Ingram if I have another option.
I don't know that I have much more to add to that, honestly. It's just a horrible matchup, and you mentioned it, the touchdown production.
I actually do have one more thing to add.
Oh, go
not
for
only
it.
Not only does he not have any touchdowns, he doesn't even have any red zone targets.
No, that I have nothing to add to. I mean, he's still the number 6 tight end. Still the number 6 tight end on the season, but honestly, like once you kind of get past the top 3 or 4 tight ends, it's all the same. So, and it's all so close in points and rankings and stuff that doesn't matter. So he's kind of in that mix that it's kind of irrelevant. He's just fine, and that he can be up at number 6 with no touchdowns on the season kind of just shows you how that tight end position is. And so, not super excited for Ingram this week either. All righty. That does it for our booms and busts for the week. So now we can move on to some streamers for kicker and defense. So first we'll do a kicker streamer. So who you got for your kicker streamer?
Mr. Blake Groupie. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
For New Orleans, playing against Indianapolis. This guy's been quietly very consistent for the Saints this year. They're not the highest powered offense, so he's had plenty of field goal opportunities, not like just straight extra points like some of these high powered offenses. So he's scoring some pretty good points, and I think they're going to be able to score quite a few on Indianapolis this weekend. So, and he's surprisingly available in so many leagues still. Like, I would absolutely pick him up and play him this week.
I don't think it's that surprising considering most people don't even know who he is, never heard of him. Heck, you don't even know how to pronounce his name. I don't know how to pronounce his name. So he's kind of flying right under the radar. Like you said, He's going to be easy to pick up for streaming. He is only rostered in Sleeper on 9% of rosters, and he's starting in all 9%. And a lot of those were probably picked up this week.
Probably,
or something. So, but he's been putting up good points. He's a number 7 kicker on the season. And like you said, this matchup against Indianapolis. And then if you pick him up now, you can probably save him for the next week, also playing against Chicago. So this is maybe a 2-week streamer that you can pick up. So there's good value there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All righty. Let's go on to your defensive streamer.
Streamer defense of the week, the Atlanta Falcons. Playing against Tennessee. Yeah, no Ryan Tannehill this week. They're either going to see Malik Willis or Will Levis, and they probably won't even know until Sunday. But they're already playing pretty decent defense compared to normal Atlanta teams of the recent history. But you talk about throwing an inexperienced quarterback in there, no matter which one it is, that equals sacks and that equals turnovers.
Yep.
And that's exactly what you want for your defense.
I agree. They got after Tampa Bay last week. And so if they can get after Tampa Bay like that, they're going to be able to get after Tennessee with either of those quarterbacks. Like you said, it'll either be sacks, or to avoid the sack, they'll be making some bad decisions, which equals turnovers. So, yeah, I'm liking that. I can see them racking up some easy points this week in that matchup just based off of situation alone.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee's not a bad matchup when Tannehill's playing, but you replace him with these guys, that's a no-brainer to me.
That's very true. Alrighty, guys. That does it for our booms, busts, and streamers for the week. One last time, gonna invite you over to fantasyfootballadvice.com to join the only social media network 100% dedicated to fantasy football. Give advice, get advice, build a community, support content creators, and have a good time. That's going to do it for us this week, and good luck in your Week 8 matchups.
Thanks, guys.